New York Giants Week 5 game preview against the Dallas Cowboys. They're in Dallas, 425 this week. The Giants are a plus 8.5, so Dallas is projected to win by 8.5 points. That's what Vegas says, at least. As I've said before, I don't think the Giants will be favored in many games this year. This is not one of them. Maybe next week against Washington, we'll have to see. I mean, we'll see. I don't really know who's going to be favored in that one. But we'll get into this game preview here. So some injuries. Jabril Peppers looks like he's leaning towards playing. We're not sure yet, but so far the reports have been pretty good for him. O'Shane Ximines didn't practice on Thursday, so that's not a guarantee. He might be out, but he hasn't really played much anyway. Kyler Fackrell was limited on Thursday. He should be okay with a neck injury. For the Cowboys, Tyron Smith, their left tackle, was announced out for the season earlier today, I believe it was. Tyrone Crawford, the defensive end, is questionable. They have 3 offensive linemen that are down right now. Their center, I think one of their right guard, and I think their right tackle as well, or left tackle too. So, yeah, they have a bunch of offensive linemen out. So they are not in a good spot right now for the Cowboys offensive line. For the Giants offense, so their running game should get going here. Dallas is allowing 172 rushing yards per game on the ground. I know they've played some pretty good run teams offensively, and the Giants are not one of them. But this is a matchup where something has to give because Dallas right now, they're giving up a crazy amount of points, 36.5 points per game on defense. But the Giants are averaging a league worst in points per game, 11.8 on offense. So something has to give here. I think this is the week where the Giants might finally score over 20 points. And if they don't, that would be pretty bad. So this is the week where Jason Garrett has to get things right. This is the week where Daniel Jones has to get things right. If they don't, that's not a good look because we're now 5 games into it. I know there was no preseason this year, things like that. So at this point in week 5, I'm kind of done with the excuses. Like, this is where the real test starts. You're playing a terrible defense. They have not been able to tackle anybody this year. They're allowing nearly 40 points per game at this point. They're allowing 258 passing yards per game, 172 rushing yards, as I mentioned. So this is a get-right game for this Giants offense that's been severely struggling so far. And if they can't get it done here, then that'll say a lot. And I know it's early in the season technically, but as I said, we're 5 weeks in now. I'm done with the excuses. They have to get it done here against a defense that has been awful this year. For the Giants defense, so they were really good last week. I think we all know that. Holding the Rams to 17 points is a victory in itself. Unfortunately, does not go in the win column. But the Giants have to get a pass rush here because Dallas's offensive line, as I mentioned, pretty decimated with the injuries. So I think the Giants pass rush, it should get there. Hopefully it will be there. Maybe this is a game where we see guys like Marcus Golden, Fackrell, maybe Lorenzo Carter get a sack in there as well. So we'll see what they do. The interior guys, defensive line, I should say, like Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence, Dalvin Tomlinson, can they get some push as well? We'll have to see. The Giants secondary, they'll be up for a tough task. The Cowboys, as we know, have a very talented receiving core. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, the rookie CeeDee Lamb had a couple touchdowns last week. He looked good. So it's a tough task. It's going to be very tough for Bradbury. It'll be tough for Darnay Holmes in the slot. It'll be tough for Logan Ryan, who's ever outside, Ryan Lewis. We'll see if Ryan Lewis can duplicate what he did last week. I'm kind of interested in that one to see what happens there. But if Ryan Lewis can prove once again that he has a good game against another good offense, then the Giants might have themselves a cornerback too that's startable. I don't know if he's the future answer, but they might find themselves a startable cornerback too, which would be great because they basically got him for nothing. So that would be nice. Blake Martinez will be out there making his tackles, doing his thing. Hopefully shows up in the run game against Zeke. Tay Crowder hopefully plays more than Devontae Downs this week. I think we saw that last week, and hopefully it trends in that same direction. I hope we see a game of Tay Crowder playing like 80% of the snaps or maybe more. So that would be nice to see, honestly. Stopping Zeke's always been kind of an issue for the Giants. We'll see if they can do that. I feel like there's been games where Zeke's been kind of held in check. I feel like he finds the end zone, though, in most games against the Giants, but there's been games where he went off and games where he's been kind of held in check. So we'll see what Zeke does. The Giants haven't been the best against the run this year. They looked good last week. I'm trying to think who they played 2 weeks ago. I can't even remember now. The Niners. That wasn't that good. They didn't have a crazy amount of rushing yards. I feel like they did most of their damage through the air, the Niners, but still, I feel like the Giants' run defense was expected to be better this year. It hasn't. This would be a good spot to step up in right here. And as I said, the offensive line for Dallas has been decimated. So, Zeke's not going to have his usual open holes and great run blocking, so we'll see. So my score prediction for this game is probably, I think, I have the Giants covering 10 points. That's what I said on my spread show, so we'll keep it in there. Dallas's offense is tough to stop. I think this is a game where we're not going to hold Dallas to like 17 like last week with the Rams. I think Dallas puts up at least 24 in this one. I will say, I guess I'll go 28-20. 28-20, Dallas wins this game. It would be nice to see the Giants offense score more than 20, but I just have not seen enough for me to think that's going to happen. If the Giants had a league average offense this year, I might have picked them to win this game, but their offense is so putrid that I really can't pick them to win a game against an offense like the Cowboys. I mean, I know the Cowboys defense has been really bad this year, but the Cowboys points per game wise, let me pull it up real quick. The Cowboys are averaging 31.5 points per game. Now, I don't know how much of that is garbage time because, they had that big comeback against the Falcons. They were probably in prevent defense for a lot of it. They had a lot of garbage time against the Browns. They had like 24 points in the fourth quarter against the Browns or some crazy number. So I don't know how much of that is legit, but still, the Cowboys offense, when you look at them talent-wise, based on their position players, is really good. Now, I know their offensive line is not what it used to be, but still, they have some really good receivers. Their tight end Jarwin's out too for the season. I forgot to mention that. I forget who their tight end is, honestly. I should probably look this one up, but it's somebody that was relevant in fantasy football like for a week maybe, but I forget the guy's name. Maybe Dalton Schultz or something like that. I'm trying to remember, but it doesn't really matter. They don't really have a tight end that I fear right now. It is Dalton Schultz. Good guess by me. So, yeah, I mean, they still have a good roster, but they're not playing well. I mean, like, they have good pieces on this team. DeMarcus Lawrence always shows up against the Giants. Dontari Poe's had a nice career. Tyrone Crawford's fine. Everson Griffin's still there. Neville Gallimore is a pretty, he was a pretty good rookie, I think, coming out of college. He should be good at least. Jalen Smith, I think, had a rough game last week, but he's always been good against the Giants. Aldon Smith's had himself a good amount of sacks this year. Now, their secondary, that's the part where you don't really know about the Cowboys. I mean, Darian Thompson's there, former Giant. Jordan Lewis at cornerback. Trayvon Diggs, who I liked coming out of college. I think he's had his ups and downs so far. Xavier Woods. Like, their secondary doesn't scare me right now. So this is really a game for Daniel Jones to get right. Like, if Daniel Jones doesn't perform in this spot, I'm going to start having, like, legitimate concern. Like, I have my concerns already, but, like, this might be the game that tells me, like, Daniel Jones ain't it. Like, if he goes out here and puts up, like, 150 yards, multiple turnovers, interceptions, fumbles, whatever, and throws, like, for one touchdown or even no touchdowns, that'll be pretty telling. Like, this is a cake matchup for Daniel Jones, and he has to take advantage of it. So we'll see if the Giants' offensive line's up for the task. Dallas's defensive line has not been that good this year. It hasn't been impressive in my mind. I'll look at the sack numbers real quick, but I really don't think Dallas's defensive line's been anything great this year. So let me look at the NFL stats real quick. Actually, I don't even think this website shows sacks, but we'll just look up NFL team sack leaders real quick because I really don't think it's that much. I mean, I don't remember. I know Aldon Smith has a good amount. He has like 4, so maybe he accounts for like half of their sacks. But so the Cowboys have 8 as a team this year. I think Aldon Smith has 4, so he literally has half. I guess I was kind of right about that one. The Giants have 10 for reference, so the Giants so far have been getting to the quarterback more sacks-wise. I don't know about pressures-wise. I'm not looking into all that right now, but sacks-wise, the Giants have been better. The Eagles have 17 sacks. That's a lot. Wow. But I guess 8 of them came from that Joe Burrow game, but still. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. I hope the Giants find a way to make this one entertaining. The Cowboys have an offense to make this an embarrassment of a game, but I do trust Patrick Graham and this Giants defense that's playing well to make this one watchable at least. So I don't think the Giants are going to win, but it'll be watchable. And hopefully the offense finally has a pulse. Hopefully the offensive line doesn't completely crap the bed the first 2 or 3 drives like last week, and things will be better. But we'll see. I'll talk to you guys after the game. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you next time.